Focusing the Mind with the Body. My name is Molly. So today we'll be focused on this mind-body connection, and we'll be using some movement and improvisational score as a way to help bring some focus, help bring some centering into our minds and our bodies. All right. So a couple of things before we get going. My hope is that this is something that you can use beyond this classroom, and it's something that you can use to help you when you're feeling like it's really hard to focus. All right, this is a score that I often share with my classes. We do it before we do anything else in class that day. And it just allows this settling and allows us to really be present with each other. So a couple of things about an improv score. So improvisational meaning it is completely made up, all right? And score being that it's like a roadmap of what we're doing, right? So I'll talk a little bit about it now, and I'll talk about it more as we move through it. I encourage you to get your face out of the camera. Do your best to let the verbal cues guide you through this. And know like it's improv, like there is no wrong way to do it, all right? In this moment before we start moving, maybe take a moment to check in with your space. I've cleared some space for myself in this living room, and prepare yourself as well for some movement, okay? Whatever you need to do for yourself to do that. So our improv score is the following things: breath, tactile, core distal, head, spine, tail, upper, lower, body half right, left, cross lateral, and vestibular. All right, and I'll talk you through each of these so we can move while we're figuring out what they are. Now, perhaps in some of your classrooms, you've done this cross lateral, right? I'm jumping ahead just to see if maybe it's something that you've seen before. So cross laterals, any time that we are going across this midline of our body. So walking can be it. Crossing our legs can be it. And with cross lateral, that is helping us be centered and be present with ourselves. Now, we do this entire setup for it so that we have a really impactful cross lateral, and hopefully that will result in a little more of an efficient way of bringing that focus in, okay? So a couple of people to name just for the context. This is some developmental movement patterns. We can talk about Bonnie Bainbridge-Cohen's work, Martha Eddy's work. We can talk about the brain dance. That's a popular one to see in school systems. And they're all basically centered around this idea of these are the movement patterns that we had to do to figure out how to crawl and how to walk once upon a time. And so they're familiar. Some might feel more comfortable than others, but know that somewhere in here, you've used this as a movement score before, okay? So let's begin. And you're welcome to face the camera. You're welcome to turn away. I will dance with you. But know that there's no need to follow. I'm here as a guide if you want it. So starting with breath and noticing your breath. If it's helpful to have hands on and feel your hands move with your breath, also an option. That brings us into the tactile. So breathing. And then hands can come on if they're not already. And maybe you can breathe into your hands as a way to start to feel this pulse, this internal rhythm that might guide you today. And then let's add a little bit more into this tactile. So we're going to start to wake ourselves up a little bit more. So wiggling our fingers and just having like little raindrops all over our head. And then it can come down our cheeks and shoulders. And you can continue to have little raindrops waking up the whole body all the way. And maybe it becomes like a stronger rain, right? Maybe we're going from like a really gentle Seattle rain into some of the monsoons that we're more used to experiencing in the valley. All right. Letting this help to wake ourselves up, to bring some awareness and sensation to our whole body. Then we're going to switch metaphors and go to a little bit of a toothpaste squeeze. All right, so again, you'll notice there's a bit of a pulse, right? So as we squeeze and release, we can squeeze down our arms, a little toothpaste squeeze. And that pulsing, once again, that internal rhythm that we have. Try to bring that pulsing in, knowing that it's helping to get the fluids in the body going, knowing that it is helping us to wake up, be a little more alert perhaps, and bring our awareness into ourselves. All right, let's start to let our movement explore and expand a bit more. So core to distal. So core being the center of your body. Can we shrink ourselves into the center of our body, take up as little space as possible? And then can we stretch ourselves out, take up as much space as possible, more distal, reaching out from the center, and continue that shrinking in, that curling into the center of ourselves, and then that expansive reaching out, core to distal, curling it in and reaching out. And you can explore this however you want, curling into the center of you and then expanding outward, right? As little space as possible and then as much space as possible. Core to distal. We've got this pulse coming back in, yeah? Curling in and then stepping out. And you can explore maybe going into the back body, maybe going more side, maybe going more forward. Core to distal. And let's go from core distal to head, spine, tail. So perhaps hands-on is a little helpful here. One hand at the top of your head, the other hand can trace down your back, find your tailbone, find your sacrum. And what all can we do with spine here? All right, so you can tilt from side to side, you can twist, and the rest of the body's along for the ride, all right? You're also welcome to arc and round. All right, so tilting, twisting, arcing and rounding, really thinking about your spine and any movement that you'd like to do with that. All right. And while I was talking tilt, twist, round, and arc, you're also welcome to kind of combine those, right? What else can you do with your spine? Maybe you're making circles. Maybe you're noticing the relationship between your head and your tailbone. Maybe there's still a pulse happening for you. Get curious, be compassionate with yourself. And then from this spine, head, spine, tail, we'll go to upper, lower. So thinking of our body half as just the upper. What all can we do with our upper body, right? What all can we do with our upper body? We spend a lot of time on the computer, writing papers. Maybe we really want to focus on the shoulders and the neck. If we're feeling kind of low energy, you can also use the upper body and push, right? How can I push on myself? If you've got a wall nearby, how can you add that push? Use your environment as part of a way to get the upper body going. And of course, the lower body's still attached, but let's focus on the upper body. And from upper body, now let's focus on the lower body. What all can we do with the lower body, right? Knowing that it carries us all over the space. Maybe get the hip flexors involved. So our hip flexors, front of the hip joint. That can be another way to bring a pulse in, which can be very regulating for our nervous system. As we go through this, notice the breath. Just the lower body. You can also play with pushing here. Thinking about pushing my foot through the ground, right? Pushing and using that push maybe to get a little more travel happening. And then from that upper lower, we're now gonna go to a different body half and split down our spine, right and left, okay? So finding some symmetry with just the right half of the body. What can happen on the right half as the left half is stabilizing? Yeah? And you're welcome to explore this anywhere. Maybe you wanna be in a chair, maybe you wanna be standing, maybe you wanna be on like an exercise ball, that's fun. You can try that too. All right, now let's stabilize on the right half and explore what can happen on the left. Yeah? And again, get curious. Maybe play a little bit with speed or tempo or anything else that you'd like to explore here. Think about the spine, the midline of the body. You can also start to play with like opening and closing like a book. Yeah. Another body half option. Feels a little bit like that pulse, got a little core distal happening, but really let the focus be on the right and left half of the body. Now let's work on our cross lateral. So that's our diagonals. So we've done the upper, we've done the lower, we've done the right and left. So we kind of got these quadrants. So think about the right half and the left half, or the right upper quadrant, left lower quadrant. What can that do? A lot of diagonals can happen here. You can also play with crossing the midline of the body, which I mentioned earlier, right? So we're really getting a efficient and impactful cross lateral, which again is centering for ourselves. Walking is also cross lateral, so maybe you take a stroll. And then you can also take it a little bigger and dancify it however you want. And then our last one is vestibular. So we are taking ourselves off balance to catch ourselves again. Yeah, so really playful here. Last one, starting to explore how can you take yourself off balance and regain balance. And know that if you go too far, trust that you'll catch yourself. And taking another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on back. Check in with yourself. Notice how you're feeling. Notice what came up for you. And you're welcome to take a screenshot of this. Maybe put it on a Post-it note next to your computer. And if you're having a day where focus is hard, come back to this. See if it helps. It allows you to maybe settle in a little bit more. You can make the score last as long as you want. You can make it as short as you want. It's up to you, all right? I hope that this provides some tools and practices that support you in bringing focus to your mind and your body. Thanks for hanging out.